Have you ever listened to a person talk for less than a minute and known you weren't going to get along with that person? What did they say? New guy at work, first coffee break he started complaining about his ex who had full custody of the kids for some unknowable reason, and also how he'd like to slash her throat with a rusty knife. Nice to meet you too, don't think I'll be taking breaks with you. It was nice of him to clear up why his wife divorced him and why he couldn't be with his kids. Parent of one of my kids' friends at school said there was a mouse in their house and his wife wanted him to kill it, but he didn't want to kill any creatures, he wants to make friends with them instead. But wife insisted, so he threw his shoe at it and eventually managed to hit it, but it wasn't dead, so he threw his shoe at it another 4 times. It still wasn't dead, so he poured boiling water over it to kill it. It still didn't die, so he poured boiling water over it again. It still wasn't dead, so he decided to leave it alone in the hopes that it would peacefully pass away. The logic of being too squeamish to kill something, and instead decide to torture it to death slowly in the most agonizingly painful way, absolutely blew my mind. Oh my ducking god. Like Jesus duck, man? That is some monstrous shit right there. I hate that our boss is a chick. Bitches make the worst bosses. Lunch break of his first day on the job. You know what? I bet she's never heard it phrased that way before, and would appreciate the feedback. Why don't you tell her before you clock back in? Years ago, me and my ex-husband went to see a movie with an older colleague of his. Before the movie we had dinner at like a chain restaurant / steakhouse type place. Staff on the floor was all 20-ish. I never met this man before, but in the first few minutes of sitting down and looking at the menu he very confidently told us how he came there a lot and flirted with the female staff because they love the attention. The best part? His daughter worked there. All I could think was how I would literally cringe myself through the floor if I was 20 and my 50-year dad came into my place of work and perved on my co-workers because he didn't understand that they only put up with him because they are paid to do so. My papa would come into the restaurants that I worked in, I usually was his server, but once someone else got his table, my co-workers would fight to take him. My papa was a funny dude that left enormous tips and joked with everyone around him that was cool with it. He was one of those tall skinny guys that just looks like a guy you could talk to. I remember I had told him about one of my co-workers having a rough time of it. He came in, specifically requested her, and then left her $100 bill as a tip. When I got home, he asked if she had gotten the tip. Of course she had, and then broken down hugging me, telling me that my grandfather was the best person she'd ever met. She wasn't wrong. Meet your teacher day before my kiddos started kindergarten, and this other parent literally bragged that her kid was completely illiterate, couldn't stand being read to, and she hated reading too. As a teacher, I can tell you who my least favorite parents are every year on day 1. It's not the conservative parents or liberal parents. It's not the Christians or the pagans. It's the parents who tell me they don't read, hate to read. One of the go-to questions I ask during the get-to-know-you time is if they've read anything interesting over the summer. I get parents who tell me about fun beach reads or news articles. Some have read frou-frou hippie mindfulness parenting books or spiritual self-help books. All those parents are just fine. The ones who say I don't like to read are always the hardest parents to work with. Their kids don't do homework. They look down on the academic concepts I'm trying to teach. They roll their eyes at parent meetings when I talk about the importance of experiential education or involved learning. The crossover between kids who don't take school seriously and kids with a parent that tells me they don't read or hate reading is nearly an identical group of kids. Shockingly, the kids who grow up in homes that hate literacy are difficult students to teach. He learned I'm a physicist, and immediately started talking about infinite energy. Add multiple conspiracy theories about how academia is censoring the real science, and you have my former friend. Asked a guy what he does at a business networking event. Well, I'm a chiropractor but looking to get out. How come? All these Me Too accusations. In another state I had 3 of them. Good thing none of them went to the bar. Edit, he probably said board instead of bar. As soon as he started complaining about Me Too accusations, I pretty much tuned him out. Chiropractors are modern-day snake oil salesmen. Not much evidence to back up their profession as a permanent and meaningful cure. Just a feel-good treatment. The new neighbor who, after introducing himself, pointed to his chest and says, "Instant asshole just at beer, that's what the family says." Nah, we're not gonna be neighbor pals. Duck, you were an asshole even without beer. When people claim to be an asshole, believe them. I know I'm not supposed to ask, but I need to know. It's not for work or anything. What religion are you? HR manager. I belong to the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Lawsuits. New guy started at my job, we were outside smoking on first break. Keep in mind I have never met nor spoken to this dude in my life. He walks up, lights up his cigarette and says, "You know, I think my severe arachnophobia has transformed into an arachnophilia. I've been watching a lot of spider hentai while masturbating." Then he began to describe his new waifu pillow he bought, her name and his plans to marry her. I was speechless. Edit, I work in a distribution warehouse for a clothing company. We were forklift drivers. He didn't last very long, but not because of things he said. He was constantly late for work, and twice a week he'd show up in Crocs, knowing damn well I've told him 100 times he needs closed-toe shoes. I'd have to send him home to change shoes. I told him just keep a pair of shoes in his car so he has something to wear at work. Didn't work, and eventually I had to let him go for excessive tardiness and absenteeism. We had just moved into a new house. An older gentleman, he was 65 and I was 35 at the time, came across the street towards me and stuck out his hand. I shook it and he said, "We love new neighbors. As long as they're white. I guess I should be glad I can pass." Started at a new job, went for a team dinner, and the very first thing he did was talk about how bad the dating scene was in the city and how ugly all the women are. Dating scene was absolutely fine BTW, I pull out of the conversation and then he just continues to ramble on about how smart he is versus everyone else. Safe to say I've been avoiding him since. My narcissistic ex worked with you. Some people might say I'm an asshole, but I just tell it how it is. 99% chance they are an asshole that I don't want to be around. A lot of people have told me I'm an asshole, and I've decided that it warrants no further self-reflection. Told me, yeah, all women are bitches, you included. No offense. Within the first 2 minutes of knowing me. Oh, none taken, you're clearly not the type of person whose opinion I care about. Was a customer at work, naturally I wouldn't be friends. But even in a setting where we could become friends, it wasn't happening. I came up to her to see if she had any questions about our critters. I work in a pet shop, and the very first thing she asked was if parakeets could talk because she wanted to teach them racial slurs. Biggest nope of my life. Imagine trying to explain to someone why your bird is racist. You're late. I've been here for 10 minutes already. I was only 5 minutes late for the date because I was looking for parking and had let him know. In Germany this conversation wouldn't be noteworthy at all. We need to start doing. And hashtag X200B, it was the assistant my work at the time transferred to work with me. Literally first minute, he was telling me how to fix my site. The one he knew next to nothing about. We need to start doing more multivariate testing of page speed enhancements to the conversion rate optimization strategy that reconciles overhead costs. Oh, you're a Scorpio. I can definitely tell because girl only knew me for 5 minutes when she said that. It was a group project. I was forced to get along with her for the better part of a semester. This was in an astronomy class. I'm not a Scorpio, I'm a velocipede. That's not a real sign. None of them are real. It isn't so much what they say, it's how they say it. If the person has not learned to take a breath between natural breaks in what they're saying and, instead, continue to steamroll over a conversation, I'm tuning out. Lol, we all have known some of those. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I offend everybody equally. Says something racist, says something homophobic, says something sexist. I hate these people, because when you make a joke back at them they'll go serious. They'll say, "No? That isn't true, that's so stupid." But no, when you react the same way to them, they're just joking and you should stop being so uptight. Asked me, "Do you mind if smoke?" Then proceeded to take out a meth pipe. This is hilarious, but yeah, nah, not pal material. Oh, we finally have a female manager. I hope she won't cry like the last one. Maybe she can get male manager number 1 and number 2 organized. My new male employee, referring to me, who he didn't realize was standing within earshot behind him. "So did you get male managers number 1 and number 2 organized?" Hi, let's talk about how my religion can change your life. Duck everything you believe, follow my beliefs. It's all about the tone for me. I'm going to duck up your face. New girl at my job. I asked her how her training videos were going and she rambled for about 30 seconds about how her old professors bred horses. She ended up being my least favorite coworker. Bro, horse girls are the craziest. I made fun of my friend for marrying a horse girl, light banter, not actually shaming, and he was a normal dude until BAM 2016. He's a full-on red hat, grab by the pussy type of dude. His wife is right alongside him the whole time. Let the N-word do it, after my then manager self-informed a new hire of his next task, which apparently he found beneath him. Better or worse than his newfound unemployment. Had just started a job, and within a minute of meeting one of my new colleagues he waxes lyrical about how weak it is that one of our other colleagues uses an inhaler, oblivious to the fact I myself use an inhaler, though my asthma is mild and well managed. Ironically, the shit-talking colleague in question had no discernible chin and looked very out of shape himself. New guy at work. Super fake by being overly excited and super overly comfortable with everyone in the first minute. He's all mammy this and pappy that to everyone and very overly touchy. We were almost all Hispanics there and everyone was uncomfortable. First phone call of the day, he hangs up cursing and taking it super personally that someone hung up on him, daily occurrence in customer service. After about 6 months, I put in my 2 weeks notice only because I couldn't work next door with him anymore. He would also get overly gossipy and personal. My boss rejected my notice and transferred him. He couldn't stand the guy either. No one could. Duck, I had to scroll too far to see this. People who try to force best friend vibes with everyone have 100% turned out to be creeps or psychos in my life. Like. Ducking chill. We don't know each other and that's fine. We don't need inside jokes on the first day. I'm not literally your spirit animal. Always comes off so transactional. Like, if I say the friendship things I can get what I want from anyone. No. Let it happen naturally, if we vibe we vibe. If we don't, cool. I'm not racist but that Hitler guy sure was. Me at my first day on the job, on my lunch break, coworker, "Are you Chinese?" Me, "Yeah coworker, I don't like Chinese food," walks away. Don't eat me then. I like people, I really do, but after about a minute and a half I gotta get the duck out of there. George Carlin. Yes, this guy hopped into our Discord group a few months back. He was a friend of a friend, but he didn't think to just add him to our server, not our group chat. We all hop into a call and first thing he does is make some remarks that are very politically sensitive, sends some graphic photos and made some inappropriate remarks. Didn't expect to meet someone and have him offend 6 people in the span of 10 minutes. Are you sure you're not just jealous of his efficiency and multitasking skills? All-time favorite was this girl they had just hired who would answer any question by responding that she had a fiance. Like, "Hi, my name is Bill, where are you from? I have a fiance." Like any of us were going to bang her in the walk-in cooler if she didn't. She had to remind herself of it every 2 minutes lest she forgot. Anytime Jews come up in a conversation in a context other than the person telling you that they're Jewish, it's usually bad. I arrived late at a party and a guy was talking shit about Bosnian Croats for like 5 minutes, and everybody laughed along. Never having met the person before, I asked, "Dude, that's hilarious, are you a Croat?" He got all offended and said duck no, I'm a Serb. Dude was just straight up ultra racist, said he supported the genocide. Killed the party vibe so bad, never saw him again. I was listening to the Nexivan podcast and the clip of the founder saying he has 225 IQ. If I walked into a room and heard someone say that, I'd walk right back out. I used to brag about my IQ score. It was off of a free internet test. I was 14. I learned better. I was talking to a girl in college and she made some remark about, yeah, like when you test your boyfriend to make sure he loves you, and I remember thinking, you seemed so normal. There are different levels to being a psychic. I'm on the purple level so I can talk to the dead. Said a new employee at my previous job. Nope. Oh, are you talking about D&D? I love fantasy stuff. The quiet boy at school sat next to me and told me how hard he felt when he took a shit, and how many times he ejaculated that way. I never sat next to him again. Are you from the UK? And was the kid's name Chris? I was in a job interview once and the manager cut me off mid-sentence to jump to a weird conclusion. Him, what do you think the performance of this algorithm would be? Me, oh, it'll be in times. Him, oh, you think it's going to be in? You think it'll be in? That's ridiculous, there's no way it would just be in. Me, you gotta let me finish speaking. He then cut me off mid-sentence twice more during our conversation. We didn't get along. Dude was a total tool. I hate people who do that. They don't listen to a thing you say, like they are counting how long they have to let you talk before they can butt in with their obviously superior comments. They talk negatively about someone else in a very judgy way. There was this mom in my daughter's school who seemed to know everyone. She talked to me and she spoke so bad about these people. Then moments later I saw her interacting in a friendly way with those she was judging. My eyes rolled so much I could see my brain telling me not to get involved with her. And I was right, because by the time school year ends, her friends hated her and they were talking behind her back too. A girl that used to be my best friend is like this. It was the weirdest thing to see her bitch about all these people, then have Insta photos up a few days later with them. I didn't notice she did this until our friendship was on the line, so I asked other people if she did this and they said yes too. I met one of my new colleagues at a barbecue that was being hosted by our work. I, a man, drove with another co-worker, a woman and a friend of mine, so we arrived together. When I was alone for a moment, this guy, who I've never spoken to before, comes up next to me and says, yo dude, you hitting that? Gestures to my friend. I said no, and she also has a boyfriend. He very exaggeratedly says damn yada yada. He got fired 2 years later for sexually harassing an intern. I notice you're big on the phrase yada yada.